A game that I've been playing an absolute fuck ton recently is Destiny 2. You guys know it came out recently, and some of you may not know, but I'm a huge fan of Destiny. I loved the first game, played it for over 1,000 hours, kind of clocked out towards the end of the game, but now Destiny 2 comes out, I've got a whole new love for this series. Like, it's fucking insane. So today I'm going to be giving my first impressions of the game. Before I start, I just want to say I know many people hate the game. There's definitely reasons to hate the game. Microtransactions, you know, the amount of money they suck out of you for DLC. It's a bad way of doing business. I'm not gonna lie to you. Doing it like that and milking money out of your fans is not a good idea. But if you look past all of that, it's an incredibly good game, and I don't mind spending the money simply because I enjoy the experience so much and all the people I get to meet through the game and the community, and it's just an experience that I've never had with any other game before. Although I completely respect if you don't like the game, you know, it's your opinion. If you don't like the game, that is perfectly fine. I just want to say that there are minor gameplay spoilers in this video, so if you haven't gotten to, like, you know, the second planet in the game, then, you know, don't watch the video if you don't want the gameplay to be spoiled. I'm almost at the end of the game, haven't quite finished it yet, but if you don't want the gameplay aspects to be spoiled, then don't watch this video. So without further ado, now I've got all that out of the way, let's get into my first impressions of the game. So I want to start off by saying that this game is incredibly fun. Everything that was fun in Destiny 1 is even more fun in this game. Like, it's so much less grindy, they're a lot more fair with the gear they give you and how they award rewards in missions. It's so much better, and everything is a whole lot more polished than in Destiny 1. Obviously, the game looks the same. The graphics are improved slightly, it looks a whole lot cleaner and more sharp, but the UI and everything about the game is fundamentally the same as Destiny 1. But personally, I don't think that's a bad thing. There's plenty of game series that the second game looks very similar to the first one, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like the Halo games, for example, made by Bungie as well. They never really changed up anything in the games they made. Like Halo 3 had exactly the same gameplay as Halo Combat Evolved. There were slight tweaks there, but on the whole it was pretty much the same, but no one really complained about that. However, I want to save this for the actual review. This is just a first impressions video, so I'm not going to kind of get into all of the details and stuff like that. I just want to talk about my first initial opinions on the game, and I'll save all the comparisons for the review when I'm going to be analysing the game and all that good stuff. But what I'm trying to say is the game is fun. It's got the same gameplay as Destiny 1, it worked fine in Destiny 1, there's no reason to really change it, and as most game series, there's tweaks here and there, and I enjoy the overall gameplay of the game. It's got nice gunplay, it's responsive, and it works very well. The physics has been tweaked a tiny bit because obviously no longer you can Titan skate in the game, and that was a pretty game-breaking thing. You know, you could go faster than a sparrow when you were Titan skating, so I'm kind of glad it's gone and adds more emphasis to traveling with sparrows in a more realistic and immersive way, opposed to flying across the map at really high speeds just from boosting. Like, it was really weird Titan skating. It was effective, but it was weird, and I'm kind of glad that it's gone. But overall, there's not really much you can say about the gameplay in Destiny 2, apart from the fact that it's basically the same as Destiny 1. If you've played Destiny 1, you've played the gameplay in Destiny 2, basically. Although it does feel a lot cleaner and a lot more polished than the first game, because they've had a lot of time to tweak a lot of the different aspects. From what I've played of the story, there is so much more there. Like, compared to Destiny 1 that had literally nothing in it in terms of lore of the Destiny universe and story in general, there's so much more in this game. You know what you're doing. There's a goal in this game, opposed to just killing loads of random enemies and not really knowing why you're doing it. And, you know, the villain, Gaul, is actually a good villain. Like, I thought he'd just be, you know, a throwaway guy that is there so you can have a final boss or something like that. Yeah, I haven't finished the game yet, so I don't know how it ends, but I suppose that's what happens. But, like, he's actually good. You can understand his motives. He's a pretty reasonable guy. He's evil, but he's pretty reasonable, you know, as far as, you know, taking over an entire city and killing hundreds of people is, you know, as far as that can be reasonable. He seems like he's got a motive. Instead of just being some evil entity that wants to kill everyone for no reason, he's got a reason to do what he's doing, which is a lot more interesting than just having some evil thing. It's a monster that doesn't talk and doesn't say anything for the whole fucking game. It's so much better to have a villain opposed to, like, the darkness, which is a very, very vague term. So yeah, the story in Destiny 1 is a whole lot more prominent, even going to the point in which there's extended lore mentioned in the various different side quests, like famous titans such as Wei Ning or Saint 14 that were never mentioned in the main story of Destiny 1, and were still mentioned kind of in Grimoire cards and were actually important characters. They were never mentioned in Destiny 1, whereas they're actually talked about in Destiny 2, which is a really cool thing, because I really love the lore of Destiny, and it's good to see it actually in the game. Moving on to the loot system of the game, many people that played Destiny in year 1 know the struggles of getting legendary and exotic gear during the early days of Destiny 1, and that's not the case in Destiny 2. In fact, the loot system is a whole lot better and is a lot more fair to players. In fact, there's a new system that doesn't require you to put on your highest level gear at all times like you had to in Destiny 1 to get the best rewards possible. The game actually calculates all of your highest gear that is in your inventory and in your vault space, and it gives you gear that is scaled to that level, opposed to you having to put on all of the gear that's the best you've got, which means that you can wear whatever you want, even if it's, you know, a lower power level than other pieces of gear. This feature is most useful when you forget to put on gear that you've recently got because you're in the middle of playing, and then you get rewards for a mission, because in Destiny 2 when that happened, you would get the rewards for the current light level that you are at, whereas in this game it's just calculates all of the highest gear that you've got, meaning you get better rewards regardless, which is really nice. The game also rewards legendaries and exotics a lot more liberally than the first game, because in the first game, especially in the early days, it was difficult to get legendaries. And also, if you did get legendaries in the early days of Destiny 1, they would most likely decode into blues, which was incredibly demoralizing because you worked so hard to get that legendary and it decoded into a fucking rare weapon or some shit. Like, I don't fucking want that. But in this game, legendaries stay legendaries and can turn into exotics, and it's super low that you'll get a blue from a legendary. Like, it doesn't happen. But yeah, the loot system really is nice in this game, to the point that it even gives you exotics randomly in certain missions and stuff like that. Like, I got my first exotic engram in the first public event that I did. It was insane. Like, I dropped into the EDZ, did a public event, and I got an exotic engram straight away, and I was completely surprised by that. But they don't drop that much. I think I just got really lucky. I feel like it's a really low percentage, and I just happened to get an exotic engram on my first try, because I've done plenty of heroic public events since then and have not got an exotic engram at all. So I reckon it's just because I was incredibly lucky on my first time there. But yeah, loot is so much better in this game. Obviously, there's still an element of difficulty to it, because you do need to grind an awful lot to get some of the gear in the game, like the exotics especially. There's some that I really want that are so far out of my reach, I'm going to have to grind so hard to get them. But then again, that's what Destiny is all about. Being on the grind, playing it loads, and then getting rewards out of it. That's what the game's all about, and that's what I'm happy that it stayed at. It's a looter shooter. You know, I want to have to grind in the game to be able to get my gear. Not too much grinding, but enough that makes it fun. Something that was a very big problem in Destiny 1 was the content. It didn't have enough content in the base game. This is actually a video that I made when Destiny 1 came out, back when I used to make Destiny videos every now and then, and the game didn't have enough content, really. There was not much to do after you'd finished the Vault of Glass raid. I wasn't affected by this because I finished the raid quite late. I think it was like in October when most people had already done it. But looking back at it now, there definitely wasn't enough content in the game. Now, Destiny 2 does not suffer from this issue whatsoever. In fact, I think there's a wider variety of activities to do in Destiny 2 than there is in Destiny 1 with all of its expansions. Fair enough, you got trials, you have Iron Banner every month in the first game, you have all those different activities, yet there wasn't enough variation in them. But in Destiny 2, there's a whole lot more longevity thanks to the adventures in the game. The adventures really are the crutch of this game when it comes to the endgame content, when it comes to grinding, and they're still fun. They don't get boring. I enjoy the adventures heavily in this game. They feel like I'm doing something meaningful, opposed to the patrols in Destiny 1, which were just god-awful. They were really bad. It was just, you know, kill 10 enemies, you know, collect from their body, scan this area. They were so bad. I'm so glad to see they've come up with this idea of the adventures, because it feels more meaningful and it's more fun because there's more enemies to shoot. It actually feels like a little mini story instead of just being some really bad, like, tiny mission in this small open world. And you know, the patrols are still in the game. You can still do the patrols if you want. They're nice to do every now and then as a little passing mission, but they're not the main content of these smaller open world areas in Destiny 2. It's all about the public events and about the adventures in the game as well, and I'm sure they'll add more stuff into these smaller open worlds when we get more expansions for the game too. There's also strikes, there's the Crucible, which I haven't jumped into yet, the main campaign that I haven't finished yet, and the raid, the Nightfall, all of those good things that I haven't played yet. I haven't experienced them yet, and I'm still enjoying Destiny 2 so fucking much. And when the raid comes out next week, I'll do a full review of the game, because I'll most likely have finished the main campaign and got into some more of the endgame content, and I'll be getting raid gear and kind of gearing up for the next expansion and stuff like that. So I'll be a lot more experienced in the game, and I'll have more of a basis to form my opinions on and do a review of. So next week when I've done the raid, you can expect a review of the game, although this was just my first impressions of the game overall. And that brings us to the end of the video, because I've done all of the main points. I've gone over my first impressions of everything in the game, and I gotta say, everything's positive really. There's a few little things here and there with the microtransactions and the Eververse and you know, Sparrows not being given to you straight away in the game. You have to get to level 20 to have a chance of getting one. But other than that, I've really been enjoying Destiny 2 lately, and it's more than I expected it to be. The beta was so bare, I was really disappointed with it. But this game has shaped up to be way more than what I expected it to be from the beta, and I'm super excited to see how this game goes. We had a great ride with Destiny 1. I loved, you know, the majority of the game. I did take huge breaks, like I took like over a year of a break from Destiny after The Taken King came out, but I came back to it and I got to experience Rise of Iron as well. But yeah, I really love Destiny 2, can't wait for the future of it, and there's going to be some great things. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead and like and subscribe for more gaming news and content in the future, and also remember to comment down in the comment section below telling me what you guys thought of the video and what you guys think of Destiny 2 if you've been playing it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one.